Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Melinda Hart. You are watching Stamping with Hart. I am an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up, and this is the kickoff of my 12 weeks of Halloween. This is the first project, and the twist with my 12 weeks of Halloween is that I am basing my projects off of some inspiration from past Halloween paper pumpkin kits, but using current product. And you guys will see what I mean tonight. I am so sorry. So just a little heads up. I want to give a huge shout out and a big welcome to my brand new members of my Heart of Halloween group. So I created a Facebook group for those of us who are really missing the paper pumpkin Halloween kit. We won't be getting a specific Halloween kit. We never know exactly what comes in these kits until they arrive at our door. And for me, that'll be the end of September. And based on the theme and everything that I've seen from the marketing materials, I don't think there's going to be much in there in the way of Halloween. So I wanted to do something about that. And that's basically how this started. So if I will be posting these videos publicly, but if you want to engage and interact in the Facebook group, if you want to share pictures or stories or whatever that's related to Halloween as it relates to Stampin' Up! And Paper Pumpkin, I would love to have you in the group. So I will put a link in the description box below for the replay. I have to say, I am very surprised with the feedback that I have gotten regarding my video about, Paper Pumpkin doing sort of a floral fall gratitude theme in September, as opposed to Halloween, which is what it has been for the past few years. I really appreciate everybody who has commented and has provided feedback, whether or not you prefer fall or if you are Halloween. These videos for the 12 weeks of Halloween, of course, are going to be either Falloween, where it's some combination of fall and Halloween, or Halloween, but definitely in that vein. So I will be doing other videos. I'm working on a back to school card right now with the same stamp set I'm going to be using tonight. But we're going to jump in, and I'm going to just go through basically what the concept is here. So for this first card, I didn't have my pre-order items yet for the mini catalog that's releasing September 6th. So I actually created the first alternate product using annual catalog product. And I'll show you what I did. I call this type of card like a kitchen sink card, where I kind of pulled from a bunch of different sets to kind of create a scene. So I mix and match a lot. I'm not sure if you guys do, but I feel a little badly that the very first project that I'm doing has so many elements to it. So here's what I'll say. Choose one piece of it. Don't feel like you need to recreate the whole card and project. There will be a free project sheet, and I'll have all of the products listed in there. I'll have the instructions. I'll have measurements and pictures in there of the project that we're making. This is a silhouette card, essentially. So I did kind of piece a few different things together, but this plaid piece is that alternate aspect that we're doing from Paper Pumpkin today. And we're going to sort of recreate that together. So here, and I just have this on here because I didn't glue it shut because I wanted to show you guys. This is literally just like a regular sandwich bag. But I just folded it down, and then I created this little topper for it, this little tag topper. So I had asked a question earlier today in the group asking, do you prefer to make cards or 3D projects or treat toppers or treat bags, whatever the treats would consist of, which we know there's a huge variety for Halloween. The answers were both. You guys make cards and treats. And I was so happy to hear that. So these are 3 little snack size Reese cups and just a regular sandwich size baggie. And we just created a topper for that. So you could always modify just depending on your size of treat bag. But these are our 2 sort of matching options. So I wanted to show at least one of each. Okay, so let's talk about the things that are going to come with it. And I'll show this a little closer up because I did not get a chance to. So just really simple, easy, but we're going to have some fun with this. Okay, and then let me just switch back just as comments are coming through. So Rose is saying that she makes a lot of cards and 3D items. Me too. I was really happy to hear about how many of you make cards. That I was thrilled about that. So here, this is the card that we're going to be making, and here's what we're going to be working with. This is called the Sketch Plaid background stamp. This is a really large background stamp. This is sort of our star of the show in terms of our alternate piece. This is on our clear block F, letter F as in Frank. So we're going to be using that to create our plaid background along with some Stampin' Blends. And let me give those to you. I try to keep everything organized here, but you will probably very quickly learn that I'm a pretty messy crafter. So here we're going to be using our Orchid Oasis Light. We're going to be using Basic Black Light. I also have Basic Black in our Stampin' Right marker. This is the old marker. They've since redone these, but we still have a single Basic Black Stampin' Right marker. So whether you have the new one or the old one, you should be fine. This is the Dark Fresh Freesia. And this is Dark Daffodil Delight. And then Dark Pumpkin Pie. I think that those were all of the colors. Now, in addition to that, we are also going to be using some inks tonight. I'm going to be using a combination I'll go through with you in just a few minutes. But here's the inspiration for tonight's card. And then I'll show you just a little bit of a different variation on this as I was playing with this. So this is the kit. And let me just show this to you. Okay. So this was our September 2022 paper pumpkin kit. This one was called Spooky Treats. And you can see even by the cover, this plaid that they had. And I just thought that this plaid was so cool. I loved it. So they basically had these little cute treat boxes. This was what I was putting in them last year. Just these little notepads. They went in these little treat boxes here. And this piece right here, which is already pre-scored, you can see, you would just fold it. And this is the way that this works. So if you want to create a wrapper with your plaid alternate, you can do that. That was the treat box that you would get. And then there were these really cute little embellishments and stamp set that you could use to decorate it. So let me just show you what that looked like, because we can at least look at the instruction sheet, right? And before I lose track of myself, let me just set these out because we're going to need those. Okay, so this was what the instruction sheet looked like for the September 2022 paper pumpkin kit. And when I'm talking to you guys about doing alternates with past kits, here's what I mean. I'm going to start taking a look at the design, the colors, the layout, just like I would if I was doing alternates with a present kit. So I'm seeing like a little scalloped feature here on this little cute trick or treat circle, right? I'm seeing a little ghost here. I'm seeing this plaid pattern. I'm seeing a spider. I know I have a stamp set that's current in the annual catalog that has a spider to it. So there are ways that we can kind of go through here and kind of pick and choose what we would want to kind of design for this year. And for this particular project, I chose to go with the plaid option. So with this wrapper here, okay, this is what the original piece looks like. And you can see there's a really strong paper, listen to me, paper. There's a really strong pumpkin pie base. And then we have some accents of white, black, purple, a little bit of yellow in here, okay? Here's what I'm gonna do. We're gonna change that very slightly to a white base, okay? And that was so that I could get this full color to show up. If you would like to stamp your plaid on a pumpkin pie piece and just be done with it, it's going to be great, right? But we're going to try to make our alternate close to this plaid here. So I'm going to switch that up where white is our base instead, and we're going to do accents of the pumpkin pie along with the black, the purple, and the yellow. Okay, so that's the concept here. Now, I also wanted to show you, if you decided to change that up and do a white and black base, you could do it this way. So if you really want, to have like a darker base for Halloween, it's just a very slight change. So you can have a lot of fun with playing with the colors and customizing this. This background stamp I'll be using all throughout the season. So of course, if you guys have your past kits and you want to use pieces of that, go for it. But what this is all about, this series, what this is all about is ways that people can do Halloween projects this year if you don't have the kit. That's the whole idea, showing the inspiration. But I don't have past kits to sell or anything like that. This is just inspiration based on these fabulous kits that they did in the past 5 years and having some fun with that. And of course, with our new product and things like that, with samples that we'll have in the catalog and all of that. So that'll be fun too. But I can't show the inside of the catalog until September 6th. So that's the concept there. Now with the card, it's a little bit more of a subtle touch where it's really just a border. And then with our little tree topper here, you can see it's a little more prominent. So if you want to go with something more prominent on your card base and just stamp your little people right onto this card base and not do the background I'm about to create, then don't worry about it. But we're going to have a little bit of fun tonight and try to recreate this card. So let's go ahead and do that. And then if I have any extra time left at the end of the video, I'll go through these old pieces. But I'm going to try to at least get through the making of it first. So I'm going to set this aside. And then let me just show you what we're going to be working with here. So I pulled multiple stamp sets just because of the scene that I created. So you could use just one or a couple of these, whatever you want. The first one is called By My Side. We're going to be using the little boy, the little girl, and then the little puppy dog, which was so cute. But actually, these sentiments, which could be for, care and concern or just, saying hi, can actually apply to Halloween as well. So hi, sweet friend is on here somewhere. Hi, sweet friend. Life is better with friends like you. That's perfect to pair with some sort of a little Halloween saying, and it makes it cute. It's not scary. It's cute. So that's one of the sets that we're going to be using. I pulled this set only for one stamp. So I'm literally using Cottage Wreaths only for Boo because I don't have my Halloween sets for 2023 yet. Technically, they just came in the mail tonight, but I haven't even had a chance to go through it yet. So hopefully next week, that'll be our project. But I'm going to use just the Boo stamp from Cottage Wreaths. Okay. And then let me set those aside. I am also using this for just one stamp. And I'm sorry, you guys, that I pieced so many pieces. But whatever you have on hand, die cuts, tree branches, stamp tree branches, whatever you have, use it. I just wanted this one branch from Seasonal Branches. And then one of my go-to sets, you guys will probably see me using this all through Halloween, is Grassy Grove. And we're just going to use this for the ground that they're walking on right here. Okay, so again, you can see building the scene. We were just kind of using some random pieces. Now for our moon, I wanted a really large moon. You can certainly use a smaller die cut circle or punch if you want. I went with the 2 3/8 inch punch here because I wanted that big moon, and the color of this is Lemon Lolly. And then I'm using 2 clouds. And again, if you have any cloud stamps or dies, from any of your sets that you want to use, I'm going to be using the 2 cloud dies from Lazy Days. Okay, so that's what these look like. And there's a coordinating stamp for these, but I'm not using the cloud stamps. I'm just using the cutout tonight for this particular card. This is a basic black card base. This is cut at 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. I didn't put an insert in here yet, but I would. Okay. And then for our layering piece, 4 by 5 1/4. And then this one is 3.5 by 4 3/4. But you might want to make it larger than that if you're going to be doing shading with your brushes like I'm going to be doing. Okay, so that covers the bulk of it, I believe. And if you guys have any questions, you can ask me throughout. For my embellishment, I went with these adhesive back sparkle gems, and I used silver and black. They are gorgeous. And you guys are like, what is that behind? It's with my dimensionals, I don't know if you guys are like this. I stick my dimensionals everywhere they should not be. They're everywhere. So yeah. What are they doing on the back of that? I do not know. Okay, so here you can see these. Look, it's still on me. They have them in like silver and black and gold. They're gorgeous. Hopefully you're getting a good angle on that. Okay, and let's see. So just checking on comments here. It says cute. I like to make both. I never don't think to open that 2022 kit. I need to go find it. I know. I think there's going to be a lot of that. I think there's going to be a lot of us digging things out, trying to find things. I think that's just the way that it's going to go. So, and it's okay. You know, it's all right. I had to dig mine out when I realized there wasn't going to be a Halloween kit, and I was just not accepting that. My brain was not accepting it. So, all right, let's go ahead and get started. The other things I'm going to be using are my blending brushes, and then Starry Sky, Orchid Oasis, and you can see here we go with our brushes and things. I do reuse and I do wash my brushes. I don't have a brush for every color, but I try to stay in the color family close. So we're going to be using Fresh Freesia, Orchid Oasis, and Starry Sky for our background, along with the blending brushes. I have 2 blending brushes in the large size and then 1 small for Fresh Freesia because we don't need as much of it. I'm also going to be using Pumpkin Pie for our plaid. And then I have Tuxedo Black and I have my Stays On Black kind of floating around here just in case I need them. I think we'll be using it for the branches. I can't remember exactly what I used it for, but we'll get there. And you're also going to want to have a roller, any roller that you want to use. So I'm going to actually start with the plaid piece because that's the alternate part of this. And then we'll do our background. I think that's going to be the better way to do it. So our plaid piece is going to be 4 by 5 1/4. I'm using a basic white piece, but I think that Very Vanilla would also look awesome with this. And then we're going to have our roller here in a minute. So I'm going to take my Pumpkin Pie, and I like using, if I have to ink a really large space, I like to use my little guy, but you can use the big one too. My big Pumpkin Pie is in really bad shape. I need to replace that ink pad. I actually need to replace my blends too. We're going into a new fall season. It's been on my shopping list forever, but I keep getting tempted by the new stamp sets and pre-order things. And then I'm dazzled and I don't buy my core pieces that I need to replace. So I'm just inking this up. I'm just sort of eyeballing this as, wanting to make sure that the whole stamp looks wet. And this does not have to be perfect. One of the great things about Halloween projects is if you don't stamp it perfectly, you can either kind of sneak fix it with your blends, or it could just have that sort of distressed look about it. But I'm going to try to get a full image here. Okay, so you could do this a couple of ways. You can either put your paper down onto this because it's so large, or you can flip it over and stamp. I'm going to try to just set mine face down. I'm trying to set it down straight, but it's okay if you're not perfect. I'm going to have to stand up for this because I'm sitting in my chair right now. And I just, as a stamper, I really struggle to sit and craft. I kind of have to stand. Try not to do what I'm doing with your fingers and get ink everywhere. That just is par for the course with my lives. But I'm just trying to rub the ink on here, get everything to transfer. Okay. And then I'll wipe this off in a minute. Let's see how this looks. And that looks pretty great. I have this one corner that's a little bit rough, but I'll show you how I'm going to fix it. And you could always try, if you have a stamp positioning tool, you can fix it that way. But because I'm working with that big block, that's okay. Let's see. Put a piece of computer paper over that and rub. Yeah, that's a great idea. So that you don't get all those ink, all of that ink all over your fingers. That is a good tip, Rose. Okay, so let's go ahead and start doing a little bit of our more precision business. So you've probably seen this before, where we are going to just take some scrap paper and we're going to do some lining here just to add our color. And you can give your ink a second to dry, but it's not going to take too long. Now, let me just refer to the paper pumpkin piece here and show you how I started to do my pattern. Okay, so you can choose to either go in one direction, both directions. This one goes in both directions. And you can see that there's like an established color pattern here where it's like fresh freesia, white, orchid oasis, gray, and then this yellow with more fresh freesia, white, black. So that's kind of their pattern. And then pumpkin pie is the base. So what I'm going to do is slightly vary that. And I'm going to start with fresh freesia. I'm not doing any gray. I'm just sticking with the colors that I have. And then we're going to add our lines. So we're going to start this way first, and then we'll turn it in the other direction and we'll add more. Okay, so I'm going to slightly speed up this part of the video. I will keep the full replay in the Heart of Halloween Facebook group if you want to refer back, or if you want to work right alongside with me real time. But for the sake of this video, this part of it actually does take a little bit of time. So what I wanted to mention here is that I'm working in the larger white spaces. That's where I decided to add my lines. This, of course, is going right now the piece of paper is in the landscape position. And then once we lay down all of our color with our blends, you could do whatever color pattern you want. And I'll list how I added them here on the project sheet. And like I said, you can download that project sheet. There will be a link in the description box below. If you want to get into the Facebook group, you can also click the link. It'll be in the description below as well. I always keep the information there. So that was Daffodil Delight. Fresh Freesia was first. Now here we're using basic black light for a little bit of a bolder black line. Kind of think like Sharpie, maybe not quite as dark. But if you want a really thin line, like a pin thin line, consider using your Stampin' Write marker. That would be really cool too. I think I did try that on one of the first ones that I made. And then we're going to finish out here with Orchid Oasis, and I'm using Orchid Oasis Light. One thing to keep in mind about this sketch plaid stamp is that the lines are not perfectly straight. So don't feel like your lines need to be perfectly straight either. Now I have the paper turned vertically, where up and down is what we're looking at now, and we're laying down the same exact lines, the same exact pattern again. If you have a bump like I just did, or a boo-boo, don't worry about it. Remember, this is a layer. You're still putting another piece over it. It's not meant to be perfect. You can try to salvage it a little bit with a darker line, just put a darker line slightly over it, but it's going to be okay. You could always trim that piece off as well. So here you'll see me finishing up. If you look in that lower corner there, you'll see that I'm missing a little bit of my ink. I'm missing a little bit of the pumpkin pie ink. So at the very end of this, I'm just going to go in and focus with pumpkin pie dark and those lines on the bottom. And I'm just going to kind of bring that together. I'm just going to try to fill that in, because the corners and the edges of this layer is what we need for our finished card. And I actually think it turned out really well. So here is what our layer looks like when it's done. Set this aside, but just to hold these two up, you can kind of see alternate current product versus retired paper pumpkin from 2022. And then now we're going to work on creating a little bit of a background scene. So I'm going to use another piece of 4 by 5¼ inch, but this is going to get trimmed down a little bit after we do our stamping. So a lot of times if we're doing blending with blending brushes, it's those outer pieces that can get a little bit blotchy or messed up. So it's always good to have a little extra space, or you can cut it straight to size if you want to make sure that all of your stamping is in line and perfect. So here's what I did. I stamped them in Memento Tuxedo Black ink. So we're going to do that first, where we're going to create our little scene. I'm going to bring the card back in so that you guys can see it. Okay. So here is our card. Here's like the positioning of our little friends here, our little Halloween. We'll just say that they're little trick-or-treaters. And because they're in silhouette, we don't know what they're, what costume they're wearing. So we're going to put our girl right here. So leave yourself some border room. Okay, just leave yourself a little bit of border room here. Sorry if I'm moving the camera. Try not to do that. All right, and then the idea is leave some room for your moon. Leave a little bit of room at the bottom for your ground, and just leave a little bit of extra that we can trim off at the sides. And then we're just gonna stamp them. Okay, so we have like our little basic scene. And here's what I discovered. We have something called masking paper. And this was the thing that I kept going back and forth on if I should do another day or if I should do that today. Because I realize there's a lot of techniques in this. But this is our Stampin' Up! Masking paper. And because I already did this once, I already created the masks. But the concept of masking paper, if you've never seen this before, this is a really cool, sticky, it's like a tacky paper. Think of like a gigantic Post-it, but there's adhesive on the whole thing. If you bend it in the middle, that's where you can peel it back, and it's a little bit sticky on the inside. So you stamp whatever stamp it is that you're going to be masking on the front. You trim it out, so you would fussy cut it, and you do want to try to be precise when it's masking paper. And then you put the mask over the stamp so that you can go ahead and create your background or whatever. Now, if you just want to use like a piece of Orchid Oasis or Starry Sky and not mess with this, that's totally fine. For me, I'm going to be doing masking, but I already created my masks. So when I was creating my masks, what I had done was I had already done the silhouette for the little boy. And it was very easy to pull up the mask. So this is what the mask looks like once the mask has been cut. And you can see it's sticky here, okay? I'm going to reuse my masks. So if your masks are still in good shape, which they should be, just be gentle when you're, pulling them up from the paper, then you can set it down. It was much easier to remove him than it was her because I didn't do her silhouette first. So if you want to ink it up first, you can totally do that. I'm going to put this down first and do my inking, and then I'm going to do their silhouettes after so that we can color in all the right places. But I tested that out to see, and can you see how like when I go to pick him up, I have to be careful. See, like it does stick to your paper here, especially if it's clean. So we want to try to get that lined up as closely as we can. That's pretty close. It's not 100%, but it's pretty close. It's good enough for me. So I'm going to set that down, and then we're going to use the mask for the little girl, and she's holding the bird. So we're going to try to line her up here. Let's see if we can do that. I'm going to start with her hair. So far, that lineup is also pretty good. Not perfect, but let's see if we can get this. And the whole concept is we want this masking paper to go flat. Okay. So if you can cover up your image perfectly, do that. For the sake of this live, I'm just going to kind of try to go a little bit faster. Okay. And then here's our adorable little puppy dog in a mask. So I'm going to cover him too. I'll be covering backgrounds in more detail on another week. But I did, because we're using annual catalog product here, I was kind of creating a Halloween scene from scratch. So we're gonna just go with this. So we're actually going to start with fresh freesia. So we're going to take our fresh freesia. You can use whichever size blending brush you want. I'm going to just put this here. Hopefully you can still see that. And I'm going to ink up my fresh freesia, and I'm just going to rub that right on the ink pad here. And then we're going to dab off a little bit. Hopefully you guys can still hear me. Okay. And I'm going to just start inking. I'm just going to start bringing it in from the corner and from the bottom. We're going to start down here. And we just want to start creating a little bit of a night scene. And I'm not going to take a ton of time on this. I'm not going to try to make this, absolutely perfect. All I want to try to do is blend in 3 colors. Not quite ombre, but along those lines. Like, it's not going to be a perfect ombre, but we're trying to like simulate a little bit of like a sunset. The sun is down, and now that night sky is really starting to come up right around the time that the kids are trick-or-treating, where it's not full dark, but it's getting there. So just going to bring this in. I'm going to bring this up around them. And if you have, a little bit of cross color here, see how it's starting to pick up the purple from my masks? That's okay, because that color is going to blend anyway. Okay, and then I'm going to start bringing in my next color. And you can take your time on this if you want to, but I'm going to try, again, to go a little bit faster just for the sake of time. So our next color is going to be Orchid Oasis. And we're going to go with Orchid Oasis next. Now, once we start getting into these darker colors, I would say definitely dab off, come in from the side so that that darkest color will be sort of on those edges that we can trim off later. You're going to want to do that a couple of times. Okay, and now I'm going to do the same thing from the other side. So I'm just sort of coming in from the sides here right now. Okay to fully cover those masks. That's why it's there. Okay. For the replay, I might speed this up. It depends on how long it takes. Okay, and you can start to see how that night sky is forming. So I'm giving it like a full swirl, like about 1.5 swirls to get that ink going. And then we're going to blend it a little bit with our Fresh Freesia. Okay, and then now we're going to do Starry Sky on the top. Starry Sky is a beautiful, beautiful blue. It's deep, but it actually is kind of bold. It's not neutral the way that you would imagine with Night of Navy is what I'm trying to think of. Like, this is a bolder blue. It does have like a hint of purple to it, like a step up from a royal blue. It's deeper than that, but it is like full color. This is such a pretty color. Great color for Halloween or evening sky scenes, anything like that. And then I'm going to come in from this corner here. And we're really going to try to get dark up here at the top, get that saturated color look here. Okay. Get those edges. And then I am going to start bringing this down so that it blends a little bit with the Orchid Oasis here. Okay, and so that essentially is how we create our sky. You could do this on a lot of different scene cards. A silhouette is one of the most easy and cost-effective ways to turn any all-occasion stamp set with people into a Halloween card, because you can make those silhouettes. You can pop them into any scene. So I'm going to try to gently remove my masks now. With the girl, it's a little trickier because it's very narrow between her and the bird. So I might pull up the bird here and try to pull that off together if I'm going to try to salvage this mask. I have found that I can reuse my masks maybe 2 or 3 times if I'm careful about it, but sometimes they just need to be redone. So this isn't the type of card that you would do 50 of, I mean, unless you wanted to, but there's a lot of detail involved, but you can reuse your mask a few times. Like, you can definitely hang on to this if you're doing a card and a coordinating tree package. Okay, so I'm just going to remove the little dog. And I took a little bit of her dress off there, but that'll be okay when we color the silhouette. So just remove it slowly so that you're not pulling. It shouldn't do that, but I have found on bigger pieces it can. So let's see. Here we go. Just gonna take our time here. Really don't want to rush a mask. I don't want to rip it. There we go. We got it all in one piece. Okay, so the next part is the silhouette. And I'm going to take my Stampin' Write marker in basic black. I'm going to be using the brush tip side for pretty much all of it, but you can use your bullet tip side too if you want to. And we're just going to literally color these so that you cannot see anything else. And that is the cool thing about this. You can be as messy as you want on the inside as long as your outline is okay. So we're going to take our time on that outline so that we can preserve the shape so that you could easily see what it is. But on the inside, you could just color, and you can color it a couple of times until you can't see the ink anymore. Like if you can see his face, for example. And if you want to use one of the thick cardstocks, like Basic White Thick or Very Vanilla Thick, you could do that too. Okay, so this is another section, and the only other section actually that I am going to speed up the footage on this so that you don't have to watch me fill these in full time. But you just want to focus your detail around the edges of your characters, and then you could be as messy as you want when you're scribbling in the middle. I always like to lay down a second layer, and I like to color it in a way that you can't see any white left over from when you had the mask laying down. It's such a simple, cool effect. And the masking paper is actually really affordable. If you haven't tried our masking paper, I would definitely recommend it. And a couple of tips about the masking paper. You could always, if it's a little too tacky or a little too sticky for you, you could always do your silhouette first, coloring it in with the Stampin' Write marker, and then put your masking paper down. I felt like that really helped. If you're nervous about it being too stuck to the paper, you could also put it on your shirt and get a little bit of that tackiness off. Just kind of dab it on your sleeve. Let the material kind of soften it up and get rid of some of that stick before you put it down. So that is helpful too. And then go back in when you're done coloring all of your silhouettes with your Stampin' Write marker and just add a little bit of a layer to smooth that out. And it really does have this beautiful opaque look. And like I said, you could do this with any stamp set that you have that have people in it. What I use my StazOn for. Try to clean your StazOn off as quick as you can, but for the sake of my live, I'll just do it later. So I'm just going to ink this up. Let me ink it up off of the table because I have to really ink it. And then what I'm going for here is the mound, but if I have some overlap, it's okay. So I'm just going to get that part first, okay? And then we're going to come in again and stamp right over here. And I'm going to go for that mound again. So I'm just going to re-ink that real quick. Even though I don't need to do the whole thing, I'm just going to re-ink the whole thing. And then I'm going to angle this mound so that it has like a little bit of an overlap there. And with the dog, if you feel like, oh, I feel like I need a little bit more, you could just stamp it down one more time. Like I feel like he's floating in the air. So let's just do that one more time. Sometimes you get it right the first time, and sometimes you just need to add a couple. So there we go for our bottom here. And let's see, what am I doing? Oh, so now we're going to do our moon scene, and then we'll do our greetings. Okay, so we're going to stamp our moon out of Lemon Lolly cardstock here. If you're going to do your treat package as well, you can stamp 2 moons. We're just going to be doing our card. I'm pretty sure we'll just do our card tonight since we're running a little bit long on time, but I talk a lot. I talk a lot, you guys. I can't help myself. Okay, so we have our Lemon Lolly. Did I? I didn't cut the right size. I cut my smaller one. Look at me telling you guys 2 3/8, and then I grabbed my 2-inch punch. So you could grab whatever size you have, but I'm going to go with 2 3/8 like I promised. This is what the smaller moon looks like, by the way, if you prefer the smaller moon. So happy accident. Okay. And this is, I just feel like the moon needs to be impressive on this card. That in my brain, that is just how I feel about it. Okay, so we're going to put that down. All right, and then we're going to do this. But here, before I really set this, up, before I set up this card, I'm going to need to trim down that layer. So we're going to stamp our 2 greetings. I'm going to use Orchid Oasis to stamp my greetings. And we're going to do Boo first on the smaller cloud. Okay, so we have Boo. And then our other one was Here For You. So we're going to do Here For You on our longer cloud. Ooh, I stamped that a little bit high. You know what? I have a second one here. I'm going to redo it. There we go. We got it. Always have a little extra laying around there for your imperfect stamping moments. Okay, so we have those 2. Now I'm going to grab my paper trimmer and we're just going to trim this down really quick. And my paper trimmer should be right here. I can't believe these products are actually around me. I got to tell you, I'm really impressed with myself tonight. So I am going to trim this to 3.5. And then we're going to do 4 and I think I said 3/4, right? So I'm going to go to 5 inches so that I can trim a little bit off on each side. And then we're going to go to 4 3/4. And this kind of centers them out. Don't have to do it that way, but that's the way I'm going to do it. Now here's a little trick that you don't have to do, but can be a nice touch. Okay, so when you put it here and you layer it, it's fine. It stands out, it looks great. If you want to take your Stampin' Right marker, which I just had, here it is. Okay, and you want to take that thick brush tip side again and kind of color in these edges without coloring on the card, without coloring on your layer. I'm going to cover that with the moon, but don't be as careless as me. Okay, so you just kind of get this fine line here, this just dark border edge. And we're just going to go all the way around with that. You could do this on your ink pad. You could do this with like Orchid Oasis. It doesn't have to be black, but it's just a nice little touch when you have these deep layers and you've spent some time coloring. Okay. I got to change my blade. That's been on my list too. It's literally sitting 10 steps away from me. I just need to do it. Okay, so now we're going to get our card base. I have my basic black card base already done. All right, so I'm just going to fold this closed. And I'm going to get my bone folder here. I'm just going to get a nice crisp edge on this. I just find it's easier to work with cards once you've kind of gotten that edge on there. I am going to get my Stampin' Seal Plus. I tend to use a lot of adhesive and don't go as fast as me because you can see what just happened. Okay, let's see if I can. It's because I am impatient. Okay, and we'll put this one down. So we're looking for that 1/4 inch border there when we lay this down. Okay, and then we're going to put this piece down next, and I don't have to worry about anything in between. I'm going to try to be careful. I'm going to try to move at a normal pace. See? Pays off. All right, and then we're going to put that one down. And now we're going to pop our moon up on dimensionals. You can use minis, full sizes. I'm at the end of one of my full packs here. So I'm just going to pop some of these edges on. Okay. And I'm going to take my moon sort of right to the edge here. I'm kind of covering them a little bit, which I didn't do last time. They must be higher on the paper, but you know what? It's okay. I probably should be using that other moon. I'm going to go a little bit off of my card here. I don't typically do that, but I'm going to do it right now just because I didn't get the size right. The other thing would be just to make it slightly smaller. But whoever I give this to hopefully would be cool about it being a little bit bigger. Now I am going to get my mini dimensionals here. And for one side of the cloud, the outer side of the cloud, we're going to put a dimensional. And then for the inner part where it's going to be on the moon, I'm just going to put a little bit of adhesive. Okay. And then we're going to pop this off and say, here for you. All right. And then the other one's going to say boo. So the outer bit would be right here. And then the inner bit, which there's not much, but we'll put a little bit of adhesive on that. I'm just going to tuck back the stuff that's sticking out. And you could just use your multi-purpose glue for this too. I'll take the backing off of that. And then we'll put our little boo up here. Okay. And if you want to finish with embellishments, which it's always nice to do, I'm going to bring these back in again. So these are our adhesive back sparkle gems. All right. And so you can see one thing that I will do is I'll just lay this right on here and see which ones really pop or the ones that I like better. And that was how I came up with using the silver. I just think that it just glows on this one. So, so cute. And I should be using my take your pick tool for this, but it's okay. All right, and then we'll pop one up here. Oh, you know what I forgot to add, you guys? I forgot to add my branches. Look, I forgot to add my little branches. So don't be like me. Don't forget something. Here's the branch, okay? You would just pop your branch in. I'm not going to worry about it. It's just as cute, okay? So we'll just say I did it on purpose so you can see with and without the branches. But this is our finished card. Isn't that cute? Let me move this aside so that it's not like a hot mess looking when I'm trying to show you guys these cards side by side. Let me move this back here. There we go. Okay. That's better. And I'm just going to leave that there for anybody that wants to take a picture. Just clean this up for a hot second. All right. So these are our cards. I'm going to go through comments in just 1 second. Before I have to, finish this up, I'm going to try to talk for as long as I can. But let me get you the measurements on our piece right here. So if you are interested in making our little flap, our little treat topper here, what you're going to do is you're going to cut a piece 5 by 7. So this is basic black, cut it 5 by 7 inches. You're going to score it at 3.5 inches so that it folds in half. This basic white piece is cut at, I think it's at 2 1/4 by 6 3/4. Okay. And I actually ended up putting it on there a little bit wonky. And we're going to do the same exact backing, right? We're going to stamp exactly the same way we did with our plaid. You're going to kind of do all the same bits that we just did. And you choose who you want here. The only difference is this time the moon and the clouds are flat. There's no sky scene. And then the branches were stamped directly onto the moon in Memento Tuxedo Black. I switched our little embellishments for the black on this because it was against white. So on the darker background, I felt like the silver really stood out. But on here, I felt like this was the better fit because, again, I just laid that piece on there and I was like, those really stood out to me. So those are the main differences there. So that's what you would need. And then, of course, you would just use your sandwich size baggie for those. I've seen a lot of people just like staple their edges. That's probably what I would do if it was like a slightly older kid and I wouldn't have to worry about staples. With my son, Connor, I would not use staples. I would use something else. I would use like a little clip that he could remove or something like that, but that was safe. So if you have any kids with special needs and small parts are an issue for them, just be mindful of how you adhere your topper, right? So that is something that I always keep in mind with design. He's old enough now that I don't have to worry about a clip this size with him, right? But if you have littles and maybe they are special needs, then you would just want to be mindful of pieces like that, okay? Or with staples, you don't want them to get scratched. All right, so those were our pieces. I folded this down once before I put this inside. And the only reason these are here, these are just these little temporary inserts. That is because I was photographing it and it kept popping up. So you can remove those, no problem. So you could just put some adhesive down there or clip it and it would be good to go. And if you guys have any suggestions on that, let me know. All right, but that is our first project. Okay, so I'm going to check comments now. Let me go see if I can sit down here and read some comments. Okay. Wink of Stella would be absolutely fabulous. That is a great suggestion for this. And when we work on our actual, like we're going to do different, background scenes. That's going to be one of our weeks. And we'll do like the splatter effect with like the stars and stuff with that. That'll be really cool. So cute. And it says, what does that hold? So I just put 3 little Reese cups. They're like the little peanut butter pumpkins, the mini pumpkins, 3 of them in the snack size fit in this baggie here. But this would also fit other, you know what I mean? It could fit like a full-size candy bar, I think. I have this thing here. So for example, this was like, I never did open this. He gets all this stuff every year, like when they exchange for Halloween. And some of this stuff he's into and some of it he's not. He didn't really go for this last year, but it's like light up. So I don't know if it still works. Anyway, you could easily like put something like this in there, right? So just depending on if you're using like a different package, I would probably fold this down and then just pop it in the baggie like this. So if you're doing like a non-food item, I'm sure you could do that in a prettier way than I'm doing it. Or you could do both where you have it like with the candy and then just pop it in here. I'm not making it look very attractive, but you guys get the idea, right? So you could do something cute that matched that as well. So that's just what that's for. But we'll be doing some different treat boxes like throughout too. Somebody just put a little picture of a ghost up. It just says Facebook user. I can't see your name on my side. So I'm so sorry that I'm not saying your name, but just know I'm seeing your comments. So that is absolutely wonderful. All right. Thank you so much for staying with me tonight. Now, did you want me to show the inside of the old paper pumpkin kit or no need to do that? Just let me know. If you want to see what those old pieces look like. We're going to get more in depth in these kits. I didn't want to show them all in the first video. I'll be opening them up and kind of showing instructions and referring to pieces as we go along. Let me see if I can do. Oh, Teresa says, yes, she wants to see it. All right, let me get the box. Let me get that box. All right, so we're going to set these aside. And here's that other piece. I'll post pictures. I'll post pictures of that. And then let me set this aside. So this was something that I bought to fit in these boxes. So I just wanted to make a point to like leave it in there. You know how like you go to party stores or whatever and you're finding those little gifts that you can pass out at school. That's what that is. And then this is a base box for this kit. So this kit had the kit components for this was 18 treat boxes. The coordinating colors officially were basic black, crushed curry. Oh, crushed curry. And I was using Daffodil Delight. Fresh freesia, gray granite, orchid oasis, and pumpkin pie. Gray granite is one of my favorite Halloween colors. So we're going to be using that more. They always have alternates on their things. So if you're looking for like alternate card ideas, I'm just going to hold this up to the screen for a minute. But yeah, that was a great kit. And then here were some of the components. So let me show you. This was the stamp set from this kit. And as I show these to you, I will just repeat myself. If you're missing out on that Halloween kit this year, please let the Paper Pumpkin people know so that hopefully we can get a kit for next year. And they do have fantastic Halloween stuff in the mini catalog. I just got my stuff tonight. The box is sitting right next to me. I just haven't gone through it. But yeah, really cute. So trick or treat, enjoy the spooky treat, our little ghosty. I have an idea for a substitute ghost for you. I'll be sharing our little bat trio, some stars, our happy Halloween sentiment. And then, so if you do have these or any stamp sets like these, of course, get those out and use those. It came with adhesive, naturally, of course. Sometimes my kits are well preserved and sometimes they are not. You guys remember this one? These bags were so fabulous. I have to see if they're still in the store because that might be an alternate. If they're still available, that's probably going to be an alternate. All right. And then here were those little piece elements to this. So these popped out. These were little layering rectangles for our boxes. They came in different colors, different sizes. This is what that looked like. The Stampin' Spot for this kit last year was Orchid Oasis. Fantastic color for this kit. This was one of our little spiders. I just kind of went right through past that, but isn't he cute? Now, if you guys are looking for a spider to replace this guy, if you're looking for a substitute, Cottage Reese has a great spider on it. So let me just grab that one real quick. There's a coordinating die cut to it too. A coordinating die if you need it. And of course, you can always just draw a little spider too. Spiders are pretty simple, but if you're looking for something like that, this was one of those pieces there. So this is what I have left. We had card base, or I'm sorry, little treat box bases in different colors. We had orange, black, and white. And this personally was my favorite. I'm like a traditional sort of a color person. I can use non-traditional colors, but black, orange, and white were my favorites. So those were the bases. And then we have the wrappers. There were these little stars. Okay, right here. Now, for those of you who were looking for the measurements for the wrapper, here is what they are. This was the plain Fresh Freesia wrapper. So you could just cut a piece of cardstock, get your scoring tool out, whether or not you have the board or you're using your trimmer. Even if you have like a regular single scoring tool, like on our Take Your Pick tool, you could do it that way. But the measurements are right here. I'm going to just hold this up for a second instead of rattling them all off to you if you need them there. And you could just screenshot that too if you want. Okay. And then this was this was my favorite. This was a laser cut spider web. I absolutely love that. So all of the measurements on these were the same. They just changed out, you know, what their layers were. And then here we also had some die cut ghosts, which I have some ideas for this year. Okay, die cut ghost. And then also these sort of layering pieces here. There are certainly ways that we can recreate this as well. And then of course these little spider webs, and you can see that pop of gray granite there. And then they did black tissue paper. I always keep my tissue paper. Do you guys keep yours? But the black tissue paper in the bottom. So those were the pieces that I had left, but I'm pretty sure I had more than one of these. Okay. And that's it. So this is what the box looked like once it was all folded up. I don't have the measurements for the bottom of the box. Maybe we can recreate this on another one of our videos. But that is essentially the kit here. And I'm just going to try to keep these pieces together because I'll be referring back to them all throughout our 12 weeks here. And those, again, were the original designs from September 22. Absolutely adored this kit. Absolutely loved it. Okay. So let me go back to me. I'm just going to see if anybody has any questions. Let me know. I don't know if you want to see my pre-order stuff. I haven't really opened it yet, but I could at least show you them bones if you want to see that. Facebook user says, I use the tissue paper later for wrapping. Me too. Me too. I absolutely keep it. Yep. Rose keeps her tissue paper too. And Rose says, I love Halloween colors. Throw in some gorgeous grape. Gorgeous grape is so good for Halloween. Old olive. Yes. Love that. So good. Okay. Oh, she's saying yes. Show them bones. Okay. They're not home yet. So let's see if I can, let's see what I can get away with here. All right. So here is the Them Bones stamp set. I don't know what this is on here, but that's okay. Let's see if I can hold that up for you. Is that fabulous? Okay, so this is a photopolymer set, which means no assembly. You don't have to worry about cling stamps. And we want to be able to position things a certain way with Bag of Bones. So the bundle is going to be called Bag of Bones. The whole suite is called Them Bones, THEM. And there are 23 photopolymer stamps in here, but are these the most fabulous? I love the sentiments on this. We are going to have so much fun with this set. Happy Halloween. No bones about it. You're a sweet friend. Bonjour, boo to you, eat, shriek, and be scary. So I really kind of gravitate in the cute Halloween to maybe like elegant spooky, if there is such a thing. I try to keep it tasteful, or I try to keep it cute for kids. That's just my personal style. But there are times that I might do something with a little bit of a darker or spookier theme, just not too, not too scary. We don't want it to be too scary. And then here, these were the dies. This was the one thing that I did open because I had to see these. So again, these are called Bag of Bones dies. There are 31 dies in this. 31. Oh, I cannot wait to use this. I am so excited about these dies. I'm going to use pretty much every single piece of these, seriously. And if you are somebody like me who keeps the original backing, like I haven't moved anything off of the backing yet, what you want to do, here's a tip so that you can fit these all back on your sheet. If you are a magnetic sheet person, don't even worry about this. But run it, turn it around and run it through so that the cardboard side is facing up in your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And what that will do is create an impression without die cutting anything. And you'll be able to see the impression of the shapes so that you can put it back on your piece. I just keep these. I should probably upgrade, but I don't have the time right now. So, someday I'll upgrade, but holy fabulous. That is so great. I am so excited to use that. Now here's the paper, and I have not had a chance, not even a single chance to open this and look at this yet. So we're going to be looking at this first together. And I'm just trying to reach my embellishments, you guys. I ordered the suite, and I'm trying to find my little ghosties. It's like the best part. Where is it? Here it is. Okay, here we go. I'll be honest. The paper is probably going to be the best part in addition to those dies. But I just had to show you these. So these are glow in the dark, and I don't think I can get away with like showing you this glowing. I don't think that's going to work. Like it's going to have to be like really dark, but you can kind of see it there. Can you kind of see it? Okay, so let me get these out. These are called Glow in the Dark Bats and Ghosts. And okay, they're probably going to be home any second. So if I do end quickly, at least you know why. But here are the bats, and here are the ghosts. Sorry about my hand. Oh, they glow in the dark. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to use these. 2 sizes. One size for the bats, one size is for the goats. But you can see these are really cute. These are small. You can use these on a lot of different things. Again, these are things that I would not worry about for Connor, but just depending, on who you're making them for, just be mindful of that. You might want to reach out to the families and say, is it okay, to have like little embellishments on these? All right. And so here is the glow in the dark 6x6 specialty paper. We're going to be using this like crazy. I see for pre-order, you're limited on how many you can get, but I should have ordered a lot of this. But we're going to be using this. So again, I can't really, there's really no doing this here. I got light all over the place, but I'll see if I can snap a picture of them in the dark for you. If I can manage that. Can you imagine the moon? The moon with the glow in the dark paper. See what I'm saying? Like already, it's starting already. I love Halloween. I'm so happy we're doing this year. It was not part of my plan, but that's the way it goes. Okay. So this is called the Them Bones 12x12 Designer Series paper. I got to try to open this quick and show you quick in case they get here. I want you to see this paper. Since we're doing this, we might as well do the whole shebang thing. All right, here we go. All right, so I have the All About Autumn Suite too, but I'm not going to show that one tonight. We'll just show Halloween. And here's the other side of this, and it says boo and eek. I think it's upside down. Boo and eek. No, it's in both directions, I think. Am I making that up? No, here it is. Can we see that? Can you guys see that? Okay, so that's that. But these can be cut up and used as layers. I think that that is fabulous. I'm so happy they're doing that more. Here is a pattern right here. Love it. Have to see if the dies fit that. I'm sure they fit one of these at least. And then here we have sort of a herringbone pattern, but it's supposed to look like a bat. So I would say that's more fall category. And then we have our tombstones. I don't want to call it adorable because a tombstone is not adorable, but for Halloween purposes and crafting, you know what I mean. And then this is supposed to look like that. That is supposed to look a little bit aged. That's cool. And yeah, that is so cute. That's Cajun Craze. That background. I love this paper. I love this paper. Look at how aged that looks. That is cool. Okay. And let me know what you think of this paper. This is my favorite piece right here. That's my favorite piece. I don't know if you know this, but I grew up 5 minutes away from a cemetery. I grew up in the city of Pittsburgh. I grew up next to one of the largest cemeteries in Pittsburgh. And that was the only place in my neighborhood where we really had grass to like walk around, aside from this little park that was in another direction near us. So my grandfather would walk the dogs in there and I would go with him, and he would always tell me these stories. So I definitely grew up with certain imagery in my mind. It was a peaceful, beautiful place, very well kept. And that's where, you know, all of my family who have passed have been. But he would also tell these stories that would get your imagination going as a kid. So that has always stayed with me. Thank you guys so much for being here. I am so happy that we were able to do this. So the information that I am going to be sharing, my goal with this is to do 12 weeks of Halloween starting this week. This is August 15th. This is a Tuesday that I'm filming this. And it's going to end literally the week of Halloween. And if you're not in the group and you would like to get into the group, the 2 ways that you can get the free project sheets that are going to accompany these card projects, the project sheets will be available on my email list, and they'll be available in the Facebook group. So I will have links to my email list. And then also, if you're interested in joining this Heart of Halloween Facebook group, and the point of this group is to take inspiration from past Paper Pumpkin Halloween kits, but use current available product to create alternates, just some fun ideas and alternates using annual catalog product, using current Paper Pumpkin product. And just for those of you who maybe have or have not recently seen my video about September Paper Pumpkin, September Paper Pumpkin this year is going to be a with gratitude and with love and gratitude theme. It's more floral and fall oriented, maybe some non-traditional and then some traditional fall colors. There's like, I was seeing some blue, like some bluish green in there. So I can't say that it's like 100% traditional in terms of its color palette, but from what I can tell from the marketing materials, there's no Halloween. So for me, typically the last 5 years I've been a subscriber with Paper Pumpkin, there has been a Halloween kit. I'm still getting the September kit. I'm still going to make alternates with the September kit. The September kit is going to be part cards and part, I think it's gift bags in there. I don't recall the exact sizing of the bags, or if they released that information, I would have to go back and look. But I can tell you, I will be doing more of a traditional fall theme with the alternates from the September kit. So I'm not skipping the kit. I'm getting it. But this group or this 12 weeks of Halloween series that I'm doing in addition to my regular schedule, I'm doing this for those of us who are really missing Halloween, or for those of you who are creating Halloween projects this year for your kids, your grandkids, schools, nursing homes, wherever you parties, neighborhoods, anything like that, for the trick-or-treating in your neighborhood. So I've heard from so many of you. I'm so grateful for your feedback, but this will be specifically for Halloween, and I will have other projects still posting to my group. I will still be getting the paper pumpkin. So if you guys have any questions, you can reach out to me, but that is the plan for now. Rose says, great presentation. Can't wait to do more. Thank you so much. Thank you all for being here, and I will see you again soon. All right. Have a great night. Bye-bye.